Alright, so recently my friend introduced me to lockpicking and lock sport, and he let me borrow some locks and his pick set to take home and practice for a while. I started getting really into it. I worked for a couple nights picking locks, and I really liked it. While I had the picks, I decided to trace the profiles and make some of the picks on my own in the shop. So I came up with an idea to design a small set that would fit inside the Leatherman Wave, which is this right here, without getting in the way of the primary tools that I use. I came up with a design that would take advantage of the screw tension or spring tension lugs that are on the Wave Plus. So see, the spring tension allows a little wiggle in here if it's not tightened down the entire way. But once the tools are fully installed, that wiggle goes away, and you can use the tools just like normal again. So I came up with this design because I only carry my Leatherman with me, so if I'm going to be carrying lock picks, then they're going to have to be installed inside my Leatherman somewhere. And I came up with these original ugly prototypes that would slide in and under the lug and would be held in place until I pressed down and pulled them out to use them. After a little bit, I decided that they weren't strong enough. They're only, I think, maybe 15 thousandths of an inch thick, and they're not strong steel. I tried to harden them, but I don't have the proper tools to do that, so they just kind of started to bend and flex a little bit while I was using them. So since those were starting to bend a little bit, I decided to go out and buy some feeler gauges that I know is better steel, and it comes in all different thicknesses of the steel. So 11 thousandths, 12 thousandths, 13 thousandths, all the way down to 1.5 thousandths. And I really like this set. I found it on Amazon, and I threw it in the description below so that you guys can pick up a set if you decide you want to build these as well. And then I just took them apart and started making these little lock picks out of them. They fit perfectly in the Wave after a little bit of modification. So this hole is actually a little too big for the lug, so you have to re-drill a hole on this side and then form out the pick on this side. But as you can see, it fits perfect just like that. It works out really nice. But I'll show you the tools that I came up with. First one, so you just swivel it out like that, is a medium hook. And I believe this is in 18 thousandths, and hopefully you can see that. So that's the design right there. I also have a PDF down in the description that has the printout that you can cut these out and make your own if you have a Leatherman Wave. So that's the first pick that I have. The second one is going to be S-Rake. Just a small S-Rake, just in case I need to do a little bit of raking or zipping. That works really well. And they all have these little holes that you can pull them out with. Then obviously I need some tensioning tools. So I designed this interesting little top of the keyway tensioner after a little bit of trying to pick locks with bottom of the keyway only and failing on some locks because of it. So this is made out of 35 thousandths of an inch thick, and the S-Rake was made out of 21 thousandths, I believe. And on the back of it, I also incorporated a little tubular tensioning wrench, and that actually works pretty well. I don't know how well you can see that. that fits in there as well. And then a lot of tools or a lot of locks can either be bypassed or decoded, especially some of the master combination locks with a thin shim of metal that I just made so that it would fit in there as well. This is 7/1000 thick, a little whippy. It's gotten some use, as you can see, but that works really well for either decoding combination locks or just completely bypassing some of them. And then of course I have a little bottom of the keyway tension tool hidden inside here. That just slides under there nicely, and it's short so you don't get a ton of feel with it, but it does get the job done. And that's also made out of one of the thicker pieces of feeler gauge. So that is the set of lock picks that I have in there. Now, I chose to put these lock picks on the file and the saw blade because I don't need these quickly. You know, you aren't gonna whip your Leatherman out of your pocket because you have to saw something open real quick. You're gonna take a little time to open up that saw blade and do that rather than opening up the knives, you know, with a quick movement. And once you have all of them installed, so I'll go ahead and install my rake back in there like that. And my pick back in there, just pressing down, sliding under, and then just closes up. So let's say I wanted to use my saw, it's still solid in there because it has that thickness to hold everything tight. And then you just can put it all down like that. So this bottom of the keyway tensioner just slides perfectly in here and seats in there very nicely so that it doesn't get in the way at all. All right, so the shim goes in first, seats in, and then I can put in my double top of the keyway and tubular tensioner in there as well. Same way, just press, slides in, and seats in there nicely, a nice tight fit. Yeah, and all the other tools work perfectly fine. All right, as I previously mentioned, I made a printable PDF that I threw into the description. It'll allow you to cut out these templates here and trace the design that you want onto these specific feeler gauges. So if you like to carry different picks or rakes, just modify the tip and make it so it suits your style. I also like to vary the thicknesses of the picks, so a thinner one to fit a tighter keyway, or a thicker one if the lock requires a little more force to open. Actually, here is one of my picks that I don't carry around. It's a city rake. I could carry it around if I want to, but I just don't feel the need to have one of these with me at all times. I like using my belt sander to do the bulk of the work, but you can get the job done in a variety of ways. If you have a die grinder, other air tools, tin snips like these here, or just purely by file. I have this small set of files here that I really like to use for finish work. It has all the correct profiles, so here's a round profile, there are some flat ones and some triangle profiles in here that will allow you to do the finish work on these pieces before finish sanding and polishing them. Yeah, I've included links to all the tools I used in the description, and if you want a step-by-step tutorial on making this, I'll be starting that video soon. But thank you, like and subscribe if you enjoyed.